Welcome everybody to the Slab Lounge. My back! Wow, that's a way to open it up. It's starring the three Kwamis, Doug Medhen, Kevin Bradley, and Robert Haywood. The Slab Lounge is brought to you by Hellpoint, Funny Moments, the gym timeline, as that Funny Moments compilation will be uploaded very soon. I know it'll just be on a Friday. And by, semi-Gundam debate, because, I was watching more. I'm kind of hooked. Well, more on that later. First things first. While, yes, we wanted to do the thing last week, I was redonkulously sick. But it's a good thing that we're doing it now, because I know this has been old news at this point, but rest in power, Tina Turner. The legend is gone. When I read that report, I was like, my heart skipped a beat. I can't believe it. Like, I was telling this to a coworker. She was all like, "Well, I mean, yeah, Tina Turner was 83, but like, it's like that's like finding out, like Oprah died. It's just like that legend. You can't. That's a legend.
It's a significant impact.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was weird when I found out. Like, I was listening to a show on MSNBC, and someone said R.I.P. Tina Turner, and I paused for a minute because I was like, wait, and I started thinking, because I knew she was sick, and I was like, wait, was she already dead or not? And I couldn't put it together, and then they kept going on, and I'm like, oh shit, like, she actually died, you know? And then there was trending shit, like Joe's own Joe's and all this other shit. I'm just like, oh god, just that 3 shit, like, I'm just like everyone's going down.
We lost.
Sometimes it is like that, where it comes in 3s, but...
Yeah, that year that Michael Jackson died, there was like, all of them died in like 3 weeks of that June shit. I'm just like, yep, that's still, they didn't have a suicide pact together. Like, what the fuck, man?
Wow, okay, rest in power. Like, for those who don't know, or those who are like way young, or really young, and Tina Turner, very good in the
Dude, she's one of the few people who was good, had a period where she wasn't good, and came back in her 40s when everyone thought you were done in your 40s at the time. Like,
well, the same could be said about a lot of like musicians in that, and when you have like that long of a career. I mean, and like Whitney Houston, she was in a terrible movie. Oh, Doug, the music was good. Of course, the music was good.
Well, the thing is, like, because on the show that I found out she was dead and stuff, it was the Mel Report, and Ari Melber started talking to Cher, who was Tina's friend, and I didn't know, like, there was other shit, like, because she's like, yeah, she used to pick cotton, and then when they said her age and when she was born, I was like, okay, this makes sense, because she was born back in, like, 1925 or 30 shit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
And I'm like, okay, so you're at the end of that kind of shit, picking cotton and doing that kind of shit. I'm just like, okay, that makes sense, you know?
Yeah, it's just wow.
And that kind of shaped a lot of her kind of feeling shit. That's also kind of why, like, she put up with Ike and all that shit, because she was growing up in a silent generation where it's just like, women don't say shit, even though it's horrible, you just kind of put up with it in silence.
Yeah.
You know, and then she just kind of like, I do all this other shit, and then not till like later on when more women started, to be more liberated and being like, you don't have to do this shit. And then she kind of felt better as you saw. She like completely changed and shit. But like, I mean, for a while, most people knew about Tina Turner, like her hair, dancing to Roll on the River, and then Ike Turner beer. That's like the 3 things people knew.
Well, that and people loved the fuck out of her legs.
Yeah, those legs were already known by everybody.
Yeah.
She was doing this shit. I was watching like her old concerts when she's doing like going up on these skywalks without a harness. Because back then I was like, yeah, we were insane back then. That was back in the day when children's toys actually killed children. You know?
Yeah. Now, while I said there would be a Gundam Debate sequel, I was watching Witch of Mercury. But the thing is, while I was watching Witch of Mercury, which I'll touch up on in a little bit because we will get back to Gundam debating, I got sidetracked because one of the things on my Google News feed that I was looking through on my phone when I was like, in the bathroom, it was like Sonic Prime gets a second season okayed? The hell's Sonic Prime? And I started looking into that, and it's a Netflix CG series that I think was done by the same team that did Sonic Boom, that was on Cartoon Network.
Oh, okay.
I think, because like the animation style is really similar. Essentially, for those who want to know what Sonic Prime's about, Sonic basically broke a prism crystal thing, and now 7 dimensions have split up. But the thing is, only 3 out of those 7 dimensions are like expanded upon. We don't know what happened to Eggman, but there are like several different iterations of like Knuckles, Rouge, Tails, Amy. Yeah, I don't know why, and I don't know why Amy. Yeah, I know Amy was actually used as a character. But like and what's weird is that Shadow's in it too, but like as of right now, he's just kind of there. He got anyway. So like the first spot Sonic shows up in is like a dystopian machine-driven place where Tails actually goes by 9, and he has like 9. He has this 2 tails, but like he has this mechanical bit that he has this mechanical Dr. Octopus type bit thing. Yeah. And he's still an inventor, but he goes by 9. Knuckles doesn't go by Knuckles anymore in that particular period. I forget what he goes by, but like he's the resistance leader along with Rouge. And yeah, it gets weird. At one point he goes...
I mean, that one kind of makes sense. He's always been waiting to hook it up with Rouge. It's wherever she was going to be, he was going to end up there.
I guess. But like...
He's been chasing that bat for a while.
Again, I guess... She does have nice hits compared to like Amy and the other people.
Amy is actually a robot Terminator type deal in that particular universe. But then on the flip side, you go to like a forest dimension type thing, where it's just like everybody lives up in the trees. Amy's like this hardcore environmental terrorist kind of. Like, I mean, like I wish I was like kidding, but not really. I mean, Bert, like her.
Well, I mean, technically, it's better than the trueness of Amy's actual backstory that makes her weird to be there in the first place. Because Amy is aged up. She is technically not as old as everybody else.
I'll take her word for it.
And she was like on Sonic's dick all the time on that shit. Like she's like naive and it has that hammer.
She was basically a kid who was granted a wish to adult up so that she could be with Sonic. Sonic never consented to this. This was not a planned thing. This is what Amy did. That's why Amy's around. Basically, she is stalking Sonic.
See, this is why I like the old Sonic cartoons when it was him and Tails facing Robotnik and they fuel up on chili dogs. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
You just went, you were living life. Robotnik was causing issues. You're like, damn it, Robotnik. Stop causing me issues. I'ma solve it. Go back to relax.
Well,
yeah.
Which essentially in a world at that point, because they weren't fleshing out like what world that was, you would think that like that was basically what our real world would be, and Sonic just chilling in it, which that would make sense. Why would Sonic go talk to anybody else or do anything else? He'd be chilling, do his own thing. Like.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I never got about Sonic and all his friends and shit? It's like Sonic's fast as fuck. Everyone else is slow as fuck. Like, why would I want a friend named Sonic who's just going out zooming by? Like, I can't go as fast as you go. Like, how the fuck am I getting to places? Somehow you gotta keep it up. Like, you know?
You just gotta wait till he has his go-karting phase. Clear.
I still don't understand that like Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing. Like Sonic R, that makes sense. They're racing each other. Why the fuck does Sonic need a car?
Yeah, that's the only weirdness. Like the only one of them, wholeheartedly, who somewhat makes sense why they would have a car, is Tails. Not because Tails can't keep up, but because he would love the ability to build a car
Yeah.
and be able to do all kinds of gadgetry stuff. He's the only one who would make sense to be in a car because he would want to build it. Well, and Robotnik, but Robotnik was going to be in one anyway.
Yeah.
Well, in Sonic Adventure Battle
What
2,
were we going to get? Flash Robotnik?
Oh yeah, no, Robert. Yeah, like Robert's right. Like no, in Sonic Adventure 2, Tails kind of did build a car.
he had a car, but both him and Eggman both had mechs, and it makes sense that Tails had a car, but didn't make sense was they gave Rouge a car and not Eggman a car. So that would make more sense. Like your car, you have a mech, you can make a car. Like that makes sense,
Yeah, sometimes they were just weird about stuff in their choices because it was obvious that Tails is supposed to be the opposite of Eggman. I get Eggman's supposed to be Sonic's villain, but it was clearly at a point they were going, okay, so Tails is going to be like the technology foil to Eggman and deal with that, and Sonic would have to deal with other things. So you would be prepared to think that Tails and Eggman are about to have more show-offs. But usually they'll still be like, nah, send Tails somewhere else. No. Eggman doesn't even see Tails. And you're like, you saw Tails build a plane, and you didn't think you needed to catch Tails to stop Sonic, who cannot build a plane. So he would not be able to get on your air bases easily.
Well, they needed Tails because Sonic he just runs fast. They needed someone there to be like, so Sonic could be like, okay, how do I stop this guy? And you need someone smart to break it down into limit turns. That's what the point of Tails is. It's like,
well, even in the old cartoon, like you brought up with the chili dogs, yeah, because even in that version, Sonic wasn't depicted as being super intelligent. He was good sensed, but he was not super intelligent. When a problem came up, Tails was usually telling him some kind of a hint or telling him how to do it, and then he would go do it. They always still showed Tails was a kid, and he'd make bad kid decisions, but he was intelligent.
Yeah, he was in that chili dog thing. He was 10 or shit, like a genius and all that shit.
Yeah, it would just be then you get over to the lesson of the day, and it's Tails, don't get that candy from that stranger. And you're like, Tails earlier wouldn't have done that, but okay.
Well, in all honesty,
I didn't know his name was Miles. Because they always call him Tails, I didn't know his name was Miles Prower.
To be fair, they never really threw it out there for a while.
Even Sonic has a real name.
I don't think it was till Sonic 3 that they really started throwing his full name out there.
Right.
I think so. Well,
even then, they just still really said Tails in 2.
I was like, Miles Prower. I thought his name was Tails. It's Miles, quotation mark, Tails Prower. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they never actually showed Sonic's real name. If you guys want to know his real name, it's literally Ogilvy.
Ew.
Ooh, that's bad. Yeah, never.
I see why you're going by Sonic.
Yeah.
Never tell me that again, because I could have done without that.
Well, and I always figured that because think about it. You meet Knuckles. Who would just be like, I am Knuckles? No. Someone nicknamed you Knuckles. You were cool with it because you didn't want other people to know your name.
Mm-hmm.
What's your name, though, Knuckles? What's your echidna name? I want to hear.
My thing is so weird about Sonic and shit. It's are all these animals one-on-one? There's a lot of the echidnas. I don't see any other bats. Where the fuck's another Tails?
Well, it depends on which version you're watching, because technically they're either those are the few that are in that dimension, and they could just go to the other dimension that they're probably linked to go see the rest of themselves, or they could honestly be the very last ones. Depends.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And you know what I really hate? I really hated Silver.
Wait, what?
Sonic Adventure Battle 2, Sonic versus Shadow. They are opposites, they're both fast. Here you're gonna have a slow-ass person, but he's telekinesis? What the fuck, man?
Yes, he has the fastest
Silver, yeah.
in the world.
It makes no fucking sense. So it's here's a hedgehog that's telekinetic? What the fuck, man?
Yes.
Oh,
No longer will he have to wait for the pellets. They will come to him.
Yeah, it made no sense. I hated everything about it, and then they obviously knew they fucked up because they didn't bring him back.
Well, because even story-wise, he's there for flimsy reasons.
Yeah.
They're trying to do like the Skynet
It's kind of
future
hard
shit.
to address him and not be like, wait.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, all of a sudden you're in the future, and I'm like, but you don't tell us how it got this way. We're just here in a horrible future, and this guy has psychic powers. Like, what the fuck?
And you have people, and you still have people defending Sonic 06. You still have people defending that. You want to know how bad it is right now? Like, I stumbled across this as well. Because I was like, oh yeah, Sonic 06 is abandonware, right? Yes and no. Someone's actually porting it using the Unity engine to PC, and it's called Project 06. And the demos, it gets worse. See, the demo is actually widely praised.
That what? Why?
Why?
Yeah. Okay, did anyone here play that new Sonic open world game they had?
Oh, the Frontiers.
Yeah.
I heard mixed things.
I
watched the Game.
Give it my money.
I watched the Game Grumps play it, and from what it looks good, but the thing is, tonally speaking, it's all over the place because it's like, oh, you have these happy wood-loving creatures and shit like that in a dead environment, and like and like the music's all somber and sad, and I'm just like, why are you guys going the sad route? You guys did that with Sonic Adventure 1, 2, Sonic 06. It didn't work then, it's not gonna work now. Can you please just at least pick a tone? Think about it. Because like Mega Man, look at Mega Man. Look at Mega Man, right? Mega Man totally.
What type of Mega Man? Battle Network, regular, Z, X.
Well, OG.
Okay.
Tonally speaking, it's pretty like kid friendly. It's just like, oh, I'm a robot defeating robot masters. Then you go to X. X makes sense. Like it's like, okay, we're still associated with Mega Man, but we're going our own way, and this is the theme we're going with. Okay, I mean like. It's fine. It's clear that you guys are not going family friendly route. That's cool. But like, if you compare that to Sonic, you have Sonic. Sonic has a mainline, like whether it's from the animated cartoons to I take that back. From Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles, and then you go to Sonic Adventure, and you see like, oh, here's Knuckles, and here's why he's the last Echidna. You're just like, what? Yeah, what?
See,
Yeah.
I really feel like because it is open world, they fucked up. Like in Sonic Adventure Battle 2, they'll put you in a level and you can go to that level, and it makes sense. I feel like the open world, it has the same issues of why you can't have a flash game. You're so fucking fast, it makes no sense. How the fuck are you stuck on an island? He can run on water. Like it makes no sense how I'm stuck on this fucking island. Just like it makes no sense of having a flash game. Like you're too fast to enjoy a city. You know, like, I don't understand what you're going to do. You got to have the whole United States if you're going to do a Flash game. You can't just do New York because it's like, you're telling me this guy is super fast, but I'm supposed to run around at this low level speed around New York or some weird shit? Like, this makes no sense, you know?
Speaking of the Flash, I know
The
this
movie
is
with
weird.
Urza and shit on there. Like, I hate Urza Miller, but I love me some, old school Batman and shit on there, Val Kilmer shit on there. I'm torn between do I want to see this shit and give DC some other money that they can put into their coffers to make horrible shit.
Well, here's a bit of DC news. John Cena's begging the MCU to take him.
Well, of course he has to beg. I mean, it's like he has no other fucking place. Like John Cena is just running this whole shit like, okay, I'm gonna do this other shit, and then sometimes go back to SmackDown eventually, and all this other shit. He's doing the Rock kind of shit, like he's all
the Rock. He's in such
a flop. He's such a flop, Black Adam. Man.
Yeah, The Rock has lost a lot of like popularity or whatever, because even he's starting to blame the director for the terrible Black Adam movie. And like everybody's jumping down his throat.
Problems trying to fucking reboot a live-action Moana when it's not even been a good 10 years. He does not have any rights to complain.
He had bad decisions because it was The Rock who decided, hey, at the beginning, at the end of Shazam, they wanted to bring Black Adam as a teaser. He didn't want Black Adam associated with that Shazam shit on there. So they did have a teaser, and he's like, I just kind of want to do this own shit. And then the shit failed. And then the other Shazam came out and did way better than that shit. And it's like, you chose this shit. You did.
It's so bad. It is so bad. He is.
You too cocky about yourself.
They chose bad. They chose bad other heroes that was supposed to be against them, like Hawkman. You need Hawkgirl, like from Justice League. You need you're bringing people most people don't know. The only person I really knew was Dr. Fate. And
I mean, even if you were going to bring, to be fair, even if you were going to bring Hawkman, Hawkman would have needed his own movie so that people actually understood like his actual backstory, not the glossed over. Oh, he's similar to Hawkgirl thing. No, it's like the whole he technically was before her. Went through this whole other training, blah, 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 blah. There's a whole story behind it. But he's not my favorite character, but I'm just saying the way they introduce him, it's like, yeah, no one's going to care about him because his story is always like off-panel. Whereas you watch Hawkgirl go through her story. But every time, even in comics, when you deal with Hawkman, he's usually there, people don't trust him, and then there's a flashback of who the fuck he is. It is never in action. So, why not make a movie where it's in action?
I would put Black Adam right up there with Green Lantern. Like, shit, this should have been made.
That's
It should have been made. Like, they had a good idea, like, on the premise, like, do this shit. But the execution was so bad that you're trying to fill this shit in 2 hours. And you're trying to introduce all this shit, like his backstory. Now you have these other three people are coming there. You don't really introduce any shit. They're just fighting each other. Like, what the fuck, man?
Like, no, honestly, I really think Ryan Reynolds would have made a better Kyle Rayner. Like, I still stand by that. Like, he would make a better Kyle Rayner than Hal Jordan. Like, Hal Jordan, you'd have to find someone like that's really good to be that kind. Because like Hal Jordan's all. It was kind of like Jon Stewart. They're both no nonsense, right?
Hal Jordan. Except Hal Jordan is a lot more. How do you put it? Cockier.
He's cocky. He has to fight shit. But the thing is, the thing would have worked. The original premise would have worked if they would have had Hal Jordan shit. If they would have played the two movies, like he was cocky, he got the ring, and now he's off world or whatever. And like the first movie is his growing pains. Don't introduce any major villains like Sinestro or all that shit.
Yeah,
it's just him getting to learn this shit.
Planet level things that are already on the planet.
Yes, but they introduced such a huge level of threat to a rookie that made no goddamn sense. Like, and then you couldn't get behind the guy because like this guy's cocky, all that shit. If you get just like how Spider-Man, when Tobey Maguire first got his powers, you saw the growing pains. That's how you can grow with him. And then he got to the point he was at. And
I will agree with that. I will agree with that because because it also showed like every relevant arc while Peter was becoming Spider-Man. Like when he joined up with the wrestling match to earn some extra cash, how he got the name Spider-Man, and then like Uncle Ben, then and then it segued into the Green Goblin, which was nice.
Yeah, but you got to see how he got to that point. Here it's just like, here I am. All of a sudden I got this thing, and now I'm fucking saving the planet from this outer space shit. Like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, they really.
I did not believe like that a daughter who was the owner of the flight company, who kind of hated his cockiness, all of a sudden wants to be his love interest. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
He's been working for 10 years. She obviously hated his guns and all that shit, and so after he gets his ring power, all of a sudden she's like into him. Like, come on.
I know you.
Oh God, the DC comic book movies in general, man. Fuck them.
That's the problem with DC. It's super dark and all this shit. The problem is, it's like it's dark. You need to embrace the darkness. Know that you gotta build it up. Stop trying to make these movies and shit
Yeah, that's another thing I wanted to bring
Batman's
up.
horrible
the only one
network.
they ever feel secure with being dark.
That's something else that I might as well like bring that up too. Like, of all the things they introduced in Justice League, why in God's name would you bring out the big guns and get Darkseid come in? Like, really? Like, where do you go after Darkseid? Like, even I knew there was going to be like Darkseid was in it, but where do you go from there?
Darkseid is great, but the
Mr.
problem is
Mitchell.
they would need to build it up to Darkseid.
Yes.
Like, you would need to build it up, but they don't want to build up anything. They're just kind of like, let's put all this shit in 2 hours, all of a sudden, and let's throw Darkseid in there. So, but most people who don't read the comics don't know that Darkseid kicks Superman's ass. They don't understand that shit. But like, we're gonna put it in there anyway, and you're gonna about to learn. Like, and it didn't help that they put shit on CW. That was their fucking fatal flop.
Look, it was already complicated when they were doing the whole lead-up of Superman movie to then giving into who Lex was going to be to then trying to randomly be like, also Brainiac is here.
Yeah.
Like, I get they all eventually happen in that way, but you do it too much all at once. If Lex is there, let Lex showcase. Don't immediately usurp the knowledge of Lex with being with Brainiac. And then leading that into being like, oh, also, we have some dark side going on. Like, you're bombarding everybody with every threat that you think might be the big, oh, they'll definitely come see this. Like,
I think the problem with DC Universe, they have bad pacing. And although Smallville is not technically part of DC Universe, it's still like Superman. How you gonna have 5 seasons before he flies and everyone's just like, he finally flew? Like, what the fuck, man?
but I mean, that made sense in that context because it was them watching him grow up. And it should have been the way it was.
It was, but that's why I said they're bad at pacing. So they have Smallville on that shit.
In pacing with a movie that would then be released where you're only going to spend 20 minutes with Clark doing that. Versus when you watch Smallville and like grew to this whole thing.
Yeah, they're just really bad at pacing on this shit. That's why I was saying, like, they got James Gunn on this shit. It's like, James Gunn, like, you just need to realize, like, stop putting shit on CW unless you're actually gonna do actual real shit. Like, The Flash was okay for, like, the first 2 seasons. Then you got ridiculous with it. Gotham Knights, I already knew that.
They did too much because basically when they burned through Reverse Flash, they didn't know what to do.
No, they did it, and they sent everything back, and I was like, "This shit's stupid." And then I just went off from there, and I kept seeing all their kind of stories after. I'm like, "This shit makes no sense. This shit is horrible."
Because then after that, you have to try and include. You're sitting there trying to include the whole Rogues Gallery, so then there's ones that don't need to be there that are suddenly running amok in the world. Because like, why is Zoom already being introduced?
And the worst thing was, there are solutions of fixing shit because they started to run like Batgirl and some other shows and like Green Arrow, like before and after the Flash. And it's like, you know what we should do? Shit's going down. Let's do crossover events. I'm like, no.
Yeah,
it makes no sense.
Throwing the other universes into the complicated universe is worse. Because when Arrow was already having its issues, then trying to throw the Flash in there does not make it better.
They kept trying to say this shit. I'm like, stop putting this shit on CW. And then, like, they did Batgirl, all this other shit. And that was a time right before they did the merger when they just stopped really giving it a chance and started canning this shit. I'm just like, we'll stop putting this shit on there. And then when they were like, Gotham Knights, I hated the idea of the game. I hated the idea of the fucking show about this shit. I don't give a fuck about Batgirl and everyone after Batman and shit. Like, no. I don't give a fuck about that. You either need to make a story about one person, either Nightwing or Red Hood or whatever. Don't have them all together. And the guy they got for the CW was such a douchebag. Like, he's a frat swim boy. And like, I hated the guy from the get-go.
Damn.
I'm just saying,
I'm not against them with the bits that I've learned and seen. It's
bad decisions. And then with Batgirl, oh, we originally had this girl, but then we kind of got rid of her and we tried to do this other one. And after the next season, we just canceled the shit. Yeah. And we actually had a really good Batgirl movie, but we shelved it because it made more sense that even though we spent all this money on it, we might lose money, so we just shelved it. Like, what the fuck?
Why would we keep it? Well,
I mean, you had nothing else to lose. Your shit is so horrible. DC, everyone doesn't expect it from DC. And honestly, the Batgirl movie, from what I read and shit, was the most thing that I thought, this might be the best movie DC put out there, and they shelved it.
Yeah, to be fair, I thought it was gonna be good. I didn't know what all was gonna happen, but I was like, okay, it's got its build up, it's got its lead up and everything, so.
And then they shelved it. And then I was hearing shit about Ezra Miller and the Flash. And like, I kind of hate this premise. Like, I always hate the premise whenever you're like, let's do time travel, because you know that shit was always gonna end up fucking bad. That's the thing. Like, once you grow up and watch enough of this, enough art, cartoons and series and shit,
you see
and
where it's
whenever
gonna
they have
fuck
a
up.
flashback art, it sucks. Bleach when they had a flashback art sucks. Most animes when they have a flashback art sucks, and I hate it.
Unless you actually
killing.
need it for like the story reason, then it's usually functionally just wasting time to go through it.
It's wasting time because if you're going back and shit, it's like I already can see who the bad guy is, and I feel like I can see this. Why the person in there is so stupid that can't see who's obviously the bad guy? Like, why are we taking so long? Like,
Because
if we're gonna
that's
do this,
their
make it one
bestie.
episode. They make it 3 episodes, 5 episodes, and it feels like a horrible filler. And I gotta slog through it. And the worst of it was Haruhi Suzumiya when they did the 8 episodes, and they kept going back to the Great 8 and basically doing the same shit over and over again. And I was forced to watch that shit week after week. You know, I need someone to sue for that.
What? Jesus.
If you watch that shit, was so horrible. Same exact shit, barely changed anything. And when it was being released, new shit, next week, maybe they'll change it and switch it up. Nope, same shit. 8 episodes, no one knew until the final end. The fuck? Like, that shit should have been 2 episodes. The first one, he realized they're going back and forth, and you just clip on him doing the same shit. And then the second one, when he finally realizes that shit was going down, they fix it. Not actually fucking 8 episodes. That's lazy as fuck.
Okay. With that being said, I'm just so happy I have tomorrow off. Look, you know what? I think I will say this on camera too. Oh my goodness gracious, I needed this 3-day weekend.
Me, personally, I keep telling people at my work, like, we need another system. Like, I like these days off and shit, but I personally feel that every month should have a day off, like, an actual holiday that someone gets off. Like, I figure, like, everyone will get better for it. Like, you know, like, it was weird because when I was on surgery and recovery, I took off April and March. I'm like, they should have months days off because, like, we did that, or you put in August, like, because we get Memorial Day for May, you get like 4th of July in July. I'm like, what about August, like before Labor Day in September? Why don't we get an August day, like A day, 8th day? Doesn't fucking matter. And I just feel like a lot of people, especially younger generations, we're always taking mental days. But if every month had sometime drew it a national holiday where you could get off, there'd be less people taking off work. A lot of times I just take off work because I just need a mental day off, like one day off, and not deal with that shit. And if we had national days, because I get pissed off that Columbus Day is a banging holiday, but I don't get that shit off. So some nigga gets lost, rape 1,000 fucking people, but only people who are bankers who basically screw over this country get the day off. What the fuck?
Yeah.
We should get that day off.
Columbus's discovery brought money.
But I'm saying, like, okay, if we're not gonna give that day to everyone, sometime in October, it doesn't matter, whatever, and just like every other month that doesn't have a national holiday, just put a random day in there. It could be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't really fucking care. You'd be surprised, like that. And I'm also a big proponent of 4-day work week. Like, you do 2 extra hours if you're an hourly worker. And everyone I talk to is like, yeah, you're already there. You're willing to do overtime, and it feels so much greater if I could just have 1 day off and I will work harder for the other 4 days. Like, it's gonna do so much more. But
well, that's something that's already being tested
they want to go lower America wants to go lower. They want children working at bars and like a 14-year-old girl serving drinks at a bar. And like, okay, that girl's gonna definitely get raped. Like everyone else can see it, but not the Republicans.
Yeah, retardicans. Anyway, let's change. Let's change the subject because I promised I would talk about Gundam, and I'm going to fulfill that promise right now. So let me tell you guys a little bit about the episodes that I watched of Witch of Mercury. So so how it works out is like Gundams are straight banned, kind of, because like. You remember that funnel system thing? You know what? Before I even get into even into that, there is a weird trend that the Gundam franchise as a whole is really guilty of, and that is the main antagonist always having a helmet mask thing. What is it? Because Chars did it because
They always do that.
That's just
They
every
do.
one of them.
Whether
Whether it's alternate universe, whether it's some new threat, I assume it's because the first person did it, so they'll immediately feel like I'm a threat because I'm doing it too.
Yeah, I mean, like, Char did it, Zex did it, that one dumbass from Unicorn did it, and the main character's mothers did it, like, in Witch of Mercury, and that's just the 4. I mean, I'm trying to remember, because I thought, wasn't there a character in Iron-Blooded Orphans that did that?
Well, the thing with the mask is twofold. Like, you have the mask on there because when a mask character he first brought on the scene, you realize he's someone important. But it also kind of symbolized him being a rebel because most of those times they're just kind of doing their own thing, and like not a lot of times they're listening to orders or whatever. Remember when like in Gundam Wing when he swaps Gundams with the Epyon and Gundam Zero with Hero, like I was just like, what the fuck is happening?
Right, their system said so.
Yeah.
Epyon said, I hate you. And Zero said, hey, he hates him. Why don't y'all switch?
Yeah, and they did it. And I was just like, what the fuck? And he's just like, yeah, I'm doing this shit. And no one questioned him. It's weird. It's like, guy in the mask, he's high ranking enough, he'll do whatever he fucking wants, like less shark in it.
I mean, to be fair, I question. But
the mask looks
But it's not like I'm Lieutenant Norm. So it's not like he's gonna care what I have to say.
But to be fair, the best scenario that I had, the guy with the mask, I forgot his name, but when he was against Mula Flaga in Gundam C, I like that shit, because I guess like they could feel each other when they were close, and maybe they were twins or some shit. Like, I felt that was the most satisfying kind of story arc for like a random guy in a mask and Mula Flaga, especially like after they thought Kiro was dead and they rebuilt his strike Gundam at Orb and he started to pilot it and then he went against the mask guy. Like, I really felt like that was a great ending to like a saga on there. While with Gundam Wing, I always just felt like he's just looking out for his little sister and he knew eventually Hero was gonna smash his little sister. Right?
I don't think he knew Hero.
No, I don't even think.
I think he was very just confused that his little sister was into Hero. Because when you think about it, when you watch the anime, at a certain point, Zex does figure out that Relena is into Hero. But he doesn't address Hero about it. Ever. There's never a moment, really, of like, what's going on with that girl. He doesn't even have to say it's his sister. Just that girl. Because any normal pilot would question why there's a random, formally dressed, proper-speaking woman chasing after you, declaring that you need to kill her.
Yeah, that was so weird. And Hero's here wearing some weird spandex shorts and a green tank top. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, no.
To be fair on that, because of the backstory,
Tim.
I think they just threw him from the previous mission that broke him.
And some
I
Tim.
feel like they just said, get in the Gundam and go.
Well, there was some Tim. I really thought they wanted to make Hero black. They straight up gave Hero some Timberlands. I swear they wanted to make Hero so black so much. I hear some Timberlands.
Well, I mean, that's how I always took it, because when you see everybody else, they went to a hole, or I'm getting ready to go somewhere. But the moment you hit Hero's backstory is literally just the mission before. The mission before was where that little girl died, because the base blew up. And then he's here, Endless Walls. So the only thing that basically happened was he finished that mission, was sorrowful, was gonna cry, was broken, and they said, get in the fucking Gundam and go do Meteor. And then he went to do it and ran into Zex. That is the backstory.
I'm just gonna say this right now. Chun-Li with less tits has officially met its rival. Get the Gundam and go.
That's really how it went, though. Because look, when you look, if the story is even there, Duo talks to his scientists, and they figure out why they're gonna go and stuff. Troa talks to the scientists. Catra talks to the scientists.
You mean whines to the scientist? You mean whines to the scientist?
Well, whine. I mean, technically he's throwing money at him, so the scientist just has to listen. It's fine.
But Hero's just doing his own shit.
The scientist gets to hang out with the mob when not poor, so it's fine. He's getting perks.
Okay.
We'll say whatever the fuck's happening over there, he's doing his thing. But Hero never really talked to his scientists. His scientists just told him things, and then he goes, mission accepted, mission completed. So, canonically, that first mission where that little girl would have died, Hero wouldn't have talked to anybody, because he's not a person who does that. So the scientist would have just said, go get in the fucking Gundam. We're doing Operation Meteor, and I don't need your feelings. The girl's dead. Back.
One of Hero's first missions, I remember, like, he's still in a van, transfer shit. He's jumping out of the van in his Timbs and his tank top, rolling on the side of the street. Like, he doesn't give a fuck. Like,
that's why I told you. It basically went, they took him on, he got back from that mission, sent him the fuck off. They didn't give him no supplies. They didn't give him shit. And so the whole beginning arc that you see is just him out there roughing it. Why he's out there trying to hotwire fucking missiles, stealing ambulances.
He got a gun on the beach, and then that was the worst one. And Raylan stands up for him, and he's like, I'm not going to do this shit. Like, oh, come on. Like,
but the sad part is, Hero is fully capable of handling this scenario, except for one thing. Fucking Relina follows him everywhere.
You know, on the note of Hero,
except she appears.
Well, Relina followed him everywhere, and it was okay. It was annoying at first, and he must have been super pissed off when she started to take on a way heavier politician role, and started being like, let's negotiate this other shit. Like, okay, what the fuck, man?
Well, because at that point, it's like, okay, I could have killed her, so this wouldn't have happened. But I didn't.
Well, on that note of Hero, I gotta ask, you think whenever he's like, oh no, I have to go to the bathroom, he takes a piss, washes his hands and stuff like that, and then after he's done washing his hands, like, mission complete?
No, you know that nigga does not leave his cockpit. That nigga's peeing in that little black shorts he had on.
He doesn't even have... You see how often he self-detonates? There's no evidence.
Well, you know what, on that, speaking of
anything.
That's another thing Gundam is guilty of. Almost a lot of scenarios, a lot of settings Gundam has, it always has, like, the Gundam pilots going to some form of school. Gundam Wing did that, Witch of Mercury did that. Fucking, what else? There was another school for mobile suit piloting or some shit like that in one of the other Gundams.
I mean, technically, the people that were in C trained at a thing. So, I don't remember the Academy's name thing, but yeah, they trained.
What?
Basically, if they were a new type, they were probably thrown into an academy somewhere.
Yeah, but like,
my thing is, if I wanted to see Gundam Wing and shit, I wish that would have shown that beforehand. Like, I wanted someone who was in a Zaku and using, like, stock thing and doing amazing shit and then got a Gundam. Not like, all of a sudden, you're an amazing machine that, of course, is better than other shit. You know, like, I want to see your actual skills.
Nope.
And shit, you know?
What you wanted was troll. That's the best
I
you
don't
got.
know. He kept it down.
You got motherfucking heavy arms. That's what you got.
Yeah, Troy got fucked the most out of all that shit because it's like
Heavy
I have to
arms
go out there
out
to
there
get more
fighting.
ammo. I'm out here trying to be a circus shit. I'm stuck in Russia. Like he got fucked so
No,
hard.
because he can't even do missions just normally. He has to follow the circus troupe. But he also has to do the circus job. So you can't fuck up at the circus job because you can't injure yourself before your mission. And then you need to go do your mission, but you can't fuck up at your mission because you need to come back for your circus job.
Meanwhile, I forgot the guy's name, but a guy who pilots Sandrock, he's out there in the Middle East sipping tea with a whole legion of people. Like, what the fuck happened there?
Yeah, no, that's cat.
That's
well,
it's fine that you forgot his name, Robert. It's fine. It's no one likes him. No one likes him.
I always thought it was weird. Like, how is this blonde-haired guy in the Middle East? Like, right?
Because money. You didn't question that it was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, white guy in the Middle East of space, surrounded by heavily armed Mogwanaut corps that clearly look like they are mercenaries purchased by money.
They were all brown. He was the whitest on there. Everyone else was brown. That's why I was like, this is
Everyone else is brown.
Everyone else was brown. They
No, I
were
mean,
different shades of brown.
it's pretty accurate. Even when you go back to the space colony, Catra, his mom, and his dad are the only non-brown people around.
That's what I was saying. It didn't make any sense.
It's pretty South Africa in space.
But in Gundam Seed, when Kira faced the tiger or whatever, and his wife, they were in those Bakus. Even they were shaded like, hey, they've been here a while. They got a tan. You know, they kind of got it right. You know.
Yeah.
Just a little tinge.
Yeah, I was like, they weren't probably from there, but they were there long enough to be like, it makes sense that they got a tan and they know the culture. The white guy sticking out, I was just like, when the fuck did this guy get here?
Because he's doing an Elon. They've been in space.
He's doing an Elon. Okay.
Oh, I think Elon so much.
The planet.
Elon is not smart at all. Everyone, Elon is an idiot. He got lucky because he's a Nepo baby. His dad owned mines in South Africa, got his wealth, and the people who really invented the Tesla car, electric car, he bought them out, fired them, and he started saying, like, I invented this shit. He's a dumbass. He's fucked up with DeSantis, Twitter Spaces. I hate him so much.
Dude, join the club. But so let me get back to Witch of Mercury. So you know how like Gundams have the funnels? Yeah. Okay.
All the phones in there? Yeah.
Well, yeah, they kind of brought it back, but with a twist. See, whenever they're using it in Gundams, the pilot themselves goes kind of nuts, which is why X amount of years after the fact, all Gundam builds were like essentially banned. The main character, I still can't pronounce her name. I know her last name's Mercury, so let's just go with Mercury. She attends the school, but she has like she has her own Gundam, and she actually can do the Gundam system thing, but she is really socially awkward. She stutters like a motherfucker, and because she won a duel, she is now slated to marry like an heiress.
See, that shit didn't make sense. I feel like the most stuff that made sense was in two different Gundams. One was Gundam Seed when they came out with Blue Earth and they had those 3 pilots and they put them on heavily on drugs. That's what made them able to pilot their mobile suits to fight against the Gundams. That makes sense to me because that's the shit that we would do as humans. Like, we gotta make a machine, but we gotta get rid of these human elements. Let's drug them up. That's the shit we always do.
Well, no, that's literally true. The Navy's been kind of quiet. I'm assuming you guys know what Hell Week is.
Yeah. For Marines and most people have Hell Weeks. It's super horrible. The worst one is Navy SEALs. Yeah, that's what I'm referring to for SEALs. Because like Hell Week for Navy SEAls, the Navy knows this. They're just like not
doing anything about it. Like a lot of the seals that are in there
go unconscious and they have to be revived during Hell Week. Like that's ridiculous, and people still sign up for this shit.
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
So what the troops do during Hell Week in order to keep going is they take they literally take like drugs like Viagra to keep them going.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and the Navy knows this.
They're
They're just not doing anything about
you
it.
need that shit. Like if you're a sniper, sometimes you're laying there for like 72 hours. You just pee there. You don't move. All on some type of intelligence reports that maybe the person will show up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like you got to be alert for that. But like I said, like that one, the drug one made most sense because like I can see it, even though it was in the future. Like I know human nature shit.
Yeah.
The other one was when he came out with either was it Blood Orphans or Iron Orphans, the mobile suit, whatever. But like originally they worked this mining machine and it kind of fixed to their spine, and that's why it made sense. Like okay, well, how come they were able to pilot these other shit so easy? Because it's the same system. It made sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To me, at least. Like, those are the two that made the most sense. Of like, if we're gonna do shit, that's totally what we're gonna do. We're gonna use cheap labor doing this mining shit, and then the top guys are gonna drug them up.
Yeah,
you know?
that's fine. See, that makes that makes more sense, infinitely more so than Horse Gundam.
The Horse Gundam made no sense.
I hated Horse Gundam so much. I mean, like for the record,
weird reality world.
For the record, I'm still fine. I am 100% fine saying this out loud on camera because, like, the spin-off that I'm thinking of, it takes place on a horse. And when you brought up the idea, you're like, Doug, what the fuck? There was Horse Gundam. That's fine because, like, horse, they love it's the amount of love that ranch has for horses in horse-related media is like hilarious, but not for Gundam. Why Horse Gundam in G Gundam? What the fuck?
Because it had to balance out Tequila Gundam.
I love G Gundam. I used to record that shit when I was on there. The favorite episode when they went to China.
Don't act like you forgot Tequila Gundam was there. Tequila Gundam was there.
When they did G Gundam,
needed to be balanced out by horse.
When they did G Gundam and it was coming out, I recorded that shit. And my favorite episode is when they visited China, and I kept repeating when the guy from who represents China swaps down and kind of pulls up that chick's skirt, and you see her white pants and shit. Yeah. That was before I knew I could just get porn on the internet. This was a while back, okay.
Well, I mean, to be fair, when G Gundam came out, the internet was nowhere near porn. Like,
dude.
Oh no.
During that time,
people were still struggling out there in torrents.
Yeah.
During that time, I was in like high school, junior high.
Back then.
Mm-hmm.
During that time, I was in high school, junior high, and a lot of friends we were watching. Like before we knew anime was on our shit, everything was on Tsunami. We were really G Gundam. We were going out and playing like Shiny Finger. We did that shit.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
People, let me tell you about the before time. So, see, this was in the early 2000s, when back then... Oh, wait, no, let me go further. Well, no, yeah, because 2000s... Yeah, because 2000s, you still had the 56K modem. You still had the 56K modem, and you couldn't use your landline telephone while you were on the internet. So and then back then, if you had a cell phone, that was considered a status symbol back then.
Well, back then, Tsunami was the shit. We're watching Inuyasha, Yu Yu Hakusho, all this shit, staying up. Yeah,
there was no Adult Swim neither back in the early back then neither. See,
and I remember when they first put on One Piece before I knew about the manga, anything, and I was watching that shit on there. God, I came so far. I just watched episode 1063 today.
Oh, good on you, I guess. But like,
they have a lot, you know. I'm just like, I want to get people into One Piece, but I'm just like, dude, this is a lot to get into.
I'm not getting into One Piece. Never. No. Never gonna happen. Never.
It'd be faster if you ever did. Just read the manga. It's way faster than going through the actual anime.
Well, no, if I was going to do it, that's probably what I would do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm still not gonna do it. Never gonna do it. Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. Never.
Like with Demon Slayer, I would really liked it. I liked their animation, and I went to the manga and I finished watching the end. And everyone keeps now like people see one of my pins I have of the Fox back for Demon Slayer, and they're like, "Did you watch the movie, the train movie?" I'm like, "No, I didn't watch this shit because I read the manga. I didn't need to watch this fucking cash grab movie shit."
You're like, I know.
I know what it ends. Honestly, my phone case is Nezuko because I'm like, she's the only bitch who was holding it down. Honestly, she was like, Tanjiro, act like you've been here before.
Well, if it'll make you feel any better, I can't, because Captain knows about this. I buckled down and watched Dragon Ball Z Superheroes.
I hate how they treat future Trunks. GT, all this shit. They basically, the only Trunks I liked was Kid Trunks and the original future Trunks, who was hiding a secret that Vegeta was his dad. Every other iteration of Trunks seems like a pussy. Just like Goten in the future seems like a pussy. I hate all of them.
Well, okay, I won't argue about that. Like, the only reason why I honestly watched Superheroes was because, like, they said Piccolo gets his power up there, and I'm like, fine. Oh, but Doug, there's Beast Gohan.
No, back, right?
Huh?
It was the Red Ribbon Army, and they revived Cell, right?
Yeah, it was Cell Max, and my God, was Cell Max that looked stupid. Yeah, like it was Dr. Giro's great grandson. And yes, Android 21 is officially canon because she and Dr. Giro were their kid was Android, who would later become Android 16. And that when I told that to Captain K, it was on a recording of I think it was like Lost Epic or something like that. He went off. He went off so hard about like, why is it that every family there's like a doctor or some shit?
Well, because it is. It's fucked up.
It's super fucked up.
Every time you hear that there's a doctor in Dragon Ball, it's like, oh, okay. Well, who's their dad? Dr. So-and-so. Okay, who's the wife? Dr. So-and-so. Stop!
I mean, Android 17 and 18 were fraternal twins that Dr. Drill just stole from a hospital and then turned them to cyborg.
That's why they're cool. Because they were stolen.
Yeah, their original name was Lapis and Lazuli, and I didn't realize that until after I was watching Steven Universe. Shout out to Steven Universe, love that shit, except for when they came back with the new shit he had at school. Stop giving people schools.
Tell that to Gundam. Tell that to Gundam. Tell Gundam to finally stop with the dude wearing the mask or whoever wears the mask.
No, they can't. That's on brand. How are they ever going to sell masks?
Yeah. Right. And then and stop having people go to school.
I'm just like, stop tearing their hearts for young people, showing these other chicks who fall in love with these protagonists who in all accounts are crazy as fuck. They don't even know them, and all of a sudden they saw them for 2 seconds, and they can't stop thinking of them. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's just overriding their whole existence.
Mm-hmm. And you think that's weird? Fucking Witch of Mercury. They're starting to like Earthians and Spacians. They're racist to each other. They're like totally racist to each other. You could be a black guy in space, and like you could be a black dude in space, and like make it with a white woman who's space. But like, nah, if you go to Earth, no, you're an ugly, dirty Spacian that floats up.
That's
in the
one
sky.
of the benefits of being black. You realize everyone hates you. Doesn't matter where I'm at. You know.
Gundam, that's
why you go fuck the white chick for reparations. That's That's my thought process. That's how I get my full reparations.
Yeah, no, not in Gundam, not in Witch and Mercury. You could be a nigga from the hood. You go like everybody will accept you. You go to fucking Earth. No, you're an ugly Spacian, and everybody from space is gonna be like, ew, he's an ugly Earthian.
Honestly, I would definitely want to watch either Power Rangers where they all have the 5 Power Rangers are all niggas, or this horrible Beast War fucking Transformer shit I've been seeing the previous 4. Horrible. So horrible. I'm just like this makes no fucking sense. I'm like, we don't need this shit. Stop it. That Michael Jordan meme. Stop it.
Get some help.
Well, at the very least, I can say that what isn't horrible was I finally watched the Mario movie, the Super Mario Brothers movie. I finally watched it.
How much you like Peaches? Jack Black, God, he's a national treasure. We need to protect him. Just like Betty White and Tom Hanks. Well, Betty White passed on, but the same sentiment. Like, we need to protect Tom Hanks and Jack Black.
I was legit shocked. Jack Black did a fucking fantastic job as
such a good job. I was so skeptical when they first told me he was going to be Bowser.
I like how they
when he said that Jack Black
was
going to be Bowser.
Like all those little Easter eggs, they pissed me off because here I am like jumping for joy and cheering. Fuck you, Nintendo. Oh, like for instance, when Luigi's phone rang. I don't know if either of you two noticed that, but did you know when Luigi's ringtone was the fucking GameCube starting screen theme?
Yeah, the little squeak shit on there. Yeah, they kind of.
I'm like, fuck yeah!
I still hate Chris Pratt.
And what's worse is I started turning into that guy. I was turning into that guy, and what I mean by that is when they were doing when they had the Mario 64 castle theme, right? And they used the choir to like just and I'm like, you're fucking up a classic. It doesn't need to be choirs. Choiring ruining it. Oh my god, I'm turning into that guy. Oh no, not again. I thought I stopped that when I was watching Avengers Infinity War. Why am I turning into that guy again?
Honestly, me personally, I hate Chris Pratt. The only show I liked him in was Parks and Rec. Hated him in
as much as I want to knock Chris Pratt,
I don't like him in Star Lord. Like, I feel like someone else could have done that shit. Like, I really liked him in Parks and Rec, and possibly part of it might have been like I liked him there. He was great, and then I found out like he's a hardcore Republican in the church and all that shit, and I just.
As much as I want to knock, as much as I want to knock on Chris Pratt, I will just say this: from what he did in Super Mario Brothers movie, you could literally replace him with anyone else, and it would have been just as fine because he just sounded generic as shit.
Well, they needed to give the guy who made the Mario voice iconic and been doing this shit forever.
Yeah, I wanted him to. Well, to be fair, he did make a cameo. At the very least, they gave him that.
I don't care about the cameo. You need to have been right on this shit and just gave him a role. Chris Pratt could have been Luigi. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, you needed, if you want to do great, give the guy who made the role in Mario. Chris Pratt could have been Luigi. You still had Jack Black. You still had Peach. It would have worked way better. You would have got more.
Yeah, no, I gotta admit, in the Mario movie, Chris Pratt just sounded generic as shit. Like, he did not. I was not into Chris Pratt at all.
Standing out on one.
He tried to change Mario and Luigi to back for that movie back in like the 90s when the Mario Brothers, when they were underground in sewers and shit. Mm-hmm. It was a horrible movie, but I would still watch it.
Well, yeah, it's a cult. It's a cult classic.
And it's definitely a cult classic.
Yeah.
And shit on there. We already knew we were going bad in their shit. That was the one where you put Chris Pratt as the main Mario brother when they're actually live action in this shit. Put Chris Pratt as a live action shit, I'd be like, okay, I'm done with this. But since they're doing CGI as the animated movie, put the original Mario guy with his voice on there and just put Chris Pratt on Luigi and everything else would have been fine. Like, I don't understand. Like, it doesn't seem this hard. And yet, these other fucking motherfuckers are making, like, so much fucking money to make such bad decisions when this shit is easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But at the very least, like like I said, I know you said you don't give a shit, but like I'm still happy he made that cameo. Besides, it's not like he's strapped for cash. He is Mario.
No,
I mean, like,
not. But I'm glad he made the cameo. But like a huge part when he was coming beforehand, and they wouldn't have had a lot of backlash if they would have just went with the original Mario voice to make Chris Pratt Luigi. Was because they told us they were giving Chris Pratt there, and they showed him like he's breaking away because he wants to do his own thing. We don't want that shit. The reason we play Zelda games and Mario shit because we want the same exact shit every fucking time. Every 3 years we want a new game doing the same exact shit with one new feature. That's all we want.
Well, again, Robert's not exactly wrong. I mean, I was raging like a motherfucker when what happened with the Resident Evil 4 make. I was not happy.
Yeah, because it's going too far. Like, you have these video games and shit, it's such easy money. You already have a built-in fan base that likes it what it is. The problem is Hollywood's like, well, we could just give them exactly what they like. No, I need to do this extra shit so people know that I took a different turn and I can get the credit if this shit succeeds. It never succeeds. It doesn't. Stop trying to reinvent the wheel. Just be greedy. That's America. Capitalism. Fuck Reagan.
And on that note, thanks for everyone for tuning in to the Slab Lounge. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as usual, you all take care later on.